Good morning, YouTube. It's Rochelle Tannen. It's 8:30 a.m. on May 10th, 2022. Thank you to all the new subscribers and the commenters, good, bad, and indifferent. I thank my commenters, even the bad ones, because you guys helped me face my fear of going into the comment section. Now, while I was reading in my comment section, someone asked me what I thought of Kevin Samuels. It took me a while to upload this video because I reshot it time and time again. It just wouldn't flow. So I'm going to do the best I can. I didn't really watch Kevin Samuels in the last couple of years when he rose to his fame. For me, Kevin Samuels is no different than a couple other YouTubers I can name. One in particular, I've been talking about black women for forever now. So I wanted to do a little more. I wanted to do my homework a little more so I wouldn't get up here sounding like a damn fool. From my understanding, he started off talking about black men and their problems. Then he transitioned to black women and our problems. Some of his work I liked, I enjoyed. I get his shtick. He's well dressed, well spoken, and all that good shit. But from my impressions, I look at everyone from when they were born, when they were young, and what time they grew up in. That man was 56 years old when he died. So when I first started looking at his videos, I'm a 1980 baby. I came through as a child, came through the cocaine era of this country, the crack era of this country. First thought, he's a cokehead. Off rip. You can tell by looking at him. If you're old enough, you can look at, I can tell. That's the first thing that came to mind. Wow, he does a lot of drugs. I can see it, no matter how dressed up he is, dressed down. That's number one. Number two, he comes off as a hypocrite. A big ass hypocrite. I am so sick of these single mother sons getting up on YouTube telling black people, black women, black men what life is while dogging single mothers. How are you going to dog a single mother and you came from a single mother household? Which means in his videos he said he started learning manly things when he got to college. Nigga, you kidding me? So why should I take your opinion for the gospel? Your father didn't teach you how to be a man. Your father wasn't even there. Who are you to come out and judge everybody else like you're on a higher plateau and all this high value this, high value that? Let me tell you something. High value men, high value women, I don't even like that term. Because who is he to put value on someone? Who are you to put value on a person, who a person is? So who is he to judge all these women or men when your father didn't teach you shit? He said to one lady, and I kind of took offense to this because my dad was a widow to my mom, that fathers raise sons when they're raising little girls and all this other shit. So if that's your way of thinking, then single mothers raise daughters because that nigga was feminine as fuck. And I can't say what his sexuality is, but he does live in Atlanta or do work out of Atlanta. He seemed bisexual. Who do these people think they are? I said in my last video, I learned the hard way. I don't jump on these YouTubers bandwagon because these are everyday people with opinions. If he's so high value, why is he divorced? I think twice. If he said to one black lady, you don't let go of high value men. Okay, so why'd your two wives let your ass go? Can't be that high of value. Because I always keep in mind with black men. Black men want to come off as so righteous and they're so wanted and all this other stuff with or without their kids and degrees and all this crap. But if you compare them to other races of men, you're just an average guy. Because I living in here in Philadelphia, this place is very diverse. All your little pennies and your BMWs and your Porsche and all that, these Asian men and white men do that on a daily. And a lot of these Asian and white men, their wives ain't divorcing them. So again, I will have to ask, why'd your wife divorce you? 2 times. 2 wives. Twice. So you're not that high value of a man. Some things he said I agree with. But I had a dad. It wasn't nothing I didn't know. And some shit he's saying is utter bullshit. When Kevin Samuels had to be born between 1965 and 1969. My dad was born in 1958. When that Negro said, a man doesn't make your life easier and all this other bullshit, then you got the wrong man. A man and woman is supposed to make their situation easier. If you have a man, and I've known women who do this, and you got to work 2 jobs, or you got to work hard, and this man's just laying up doing a bunch of nothing, you got the wrong man. A man is supposed to ease your load as a woman, and you're supposed to ease his load in another way. No pun intended. You're supposed to help each other. It isn't. I don't know where he got his degrees and things from, because he talked a lot of shit about degrees and all this other stuff, and what an important degree is versus what a not important degree is. But he never said what his degree's in. He just said how men build and all this other stuff. If he was building so much, why are you on YouTube? Why aren't you out here working some of these oil rig jobs down there off the Gulf Coast, working these hard labor jobs that you advocate for instead of being dressed from head to fucking toe? Why aren't you out there doing these so-called manly jobs? No, you're not supposed to let a man lay up in your house and you do everything and he does nothing. There's no point in having a man. My father's side, like my mother taught me, Lord rest her soul, you can do bad by yourself. I can struggle by myself. When you get a man in your life that's supposed to ease some of the hardship as a woman, and you're supposed to ease his. My mom taught me that too. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I really, really don't. He just came off as the type of person that built his following and got a really big head. And I had to look up the manner he died in. He had told one woman about 25-year-olds, he was like, he has to beat them off with a stick. Yeah, you might. Because a lot of these 25-year-olds are the same reason I have to turn down these young men. Because a lot of these young people, they haven't had parents. Not any good ones. Kevin Samuels, yeah, 25-year-old women may be beating down your door. It's because they're looking for a dad, a lot of them. That's number one. Number two, in the manner you died in, you died on top of a 25, 30-ish young woman who, let me say, I don't know if she was Mexican or what she was, but she won't know 10 for all the shit you talk about black women and our looks. That bitch won't know 10. She won't know 10. Not maybe to Kevin Samuels she was a 10, but she won't know 10. Not to me. Now, you died on top of her. You had a heart attack, which solidifies what I thought. You're a cokehead. I read some of his comments. Not from Red Bull, young people. That's a cokehead. That motherfucker was born into the 60s. He was doing cocaine by the 90s. Guaranteed. And then you're talking about these young women and how us women age out. Let me tell you something. Men born in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, and soon to be 90s. Y'all getting old too. Y'all ain't aging like fine wine, and y'all getting older too. And yeah, y'all can get young women like a lot of older women can get young men. But Kevin Samuels, let it be a lesson to you. You died on top of this broad. You're 50. You were 56 in this time for a reason, not 25. Her sex literally killed your ass. Maybe you should have got with a woman closer to your age, because her sex killed you. Between that and your drug addiction. Now for all that high value crap he was talking and how much we need for retirement, dude, you didn't even make it to 60. This is why I don't take these YouTubers but so seriously. I don't knock anyone who gets notoriety from YouTube doing their thing on YouTube, but Negroes seem to get these big heads and really think they're relationship aficionados and all this other shit. And some of his stats I did not believe. Listen here. 54% of black men don't have kids. Are you fucking crazy? Since I was 18 years old, since I've been an adult, mostly every black man I've ever talked to, dealt with, been in a relationship with, has fucking kids. And these men with kids are just as bad as these women as kids. Which, another thing my father taught me, Kevin Samuels full of shit. I don't care how much money you have, whatever you look at it as money, because it's all different to different people. What having wealth, stature, and different things are. Kevin Samuels was like, he told one woman, a black man can have kids and have enough money to take care of his kids and her. Bullshit. Like my dad taught me, Women work their salt. Women that got something going on. Women that even just everyday working mamas that are working toward a pension or something. Listen, don't nobody want to put up with your 4 or 5 brats. Especially if they're by different women. That shit cuts the same. Because you got to put up with the baby mama. A lot of these men's kids are unruly, untaught. They're just as bad as the women. I've been with men. I was with this one guy. He had a daughter. And I was watching one of Kevin Samuels videos, and it reminded me of this. One of Kevin Samuels' callers, her son and daughter, it was late at night at like 11:30, and her 2 kids were running around. And he asked her, well, why are they up? She said they don't have school the next day. And he said, well, they should be in bed and da-da-da-da. I remember telling a black guy who wasn't that much younger than Kevin Samuels the same thing about his daughter. He would let her stay up till 3 in the morning. He never told her no. He would bring all kind of women around her, myself included. But I was the best choice because I don't do a lot of shit these women do. I've outgrown a lot of shit. So I'm not. This particular man, he liked the prim and proper, well spoken, and he also liked street women. So he would bring all kind of women around this little girl. Now this little girl's a teenager and he complains about how unruly she is. See, that shit cuts both ways. A lot of these fathers ain't shit either. They don't set boundaries for their kids. You can't say nothing to their kids. And they will never, ever, ever, ever choose you over their kids' bad behavior. Because a lot of them, believe it or not, they still in love with their baby mom. That's my opinion. They're still in love with their baby's mother. You know what I'm saying? So that kid shit that he was talking, that shit cuts both ways. No woman, he's talking all that ill shit, but there's women that want to give Kevin Samuels a second look. And I am so sick and tired of these black people getting on here, getting on YouTube, Instagram, social media, talking about the money they have. I said it in another video and I'll say it again. Black people, you are in an underclass. It does not matter how much money you make if you have nowhere to spend it. Kevin Samuels is no different. A lot of these black YouTubers get on my nerves because they get a little money and then they want to put their nose down to other black people of what they have and what they shouldn't have and their relationship gurus and all this shit. As I said, if you're so high value, why were you divorced? Why were you snorting cocaine? If you're so fucking high value, why didn't you make it to 60 years old? Because I have an aunt and uncle sitting down in North Carolina. They've been married for 50 years. And they're still sitting right on my great-grandfather's plot of land in North Carolina. Married now, right now. So I guess my uncle, who was a Mack truck driver, is more high value than a man like Kevin Samuels. Because he seemed like he was very money-oriented. That makes you a good person. And like, he's telling people if they're about how much money they should make by what age and all this other nonsense. Let me tell you something. It's not always how much money you make. It's what you do with your money. I make a decent living. I make an okay living. But I'm very bad at spending. I did agree with him on this, but I didn't need him to tell me this. Men keep discipline, structure, order because of the way they think. Right now I'm at a point in my life, I spend the way I want. I watch it with eating, but I love to eat. I love good food. I'm my father's daughter. And he's right. Men are there. They're supposed to be there to check a woman and say, babe, you're getting a little fat, da-da-da-da. But I look at a man like him like, who are you to talk? Who are you to talk? Who are you to talk? All these gurus that are telling black people what we should and should not be doing, they're always divorced. They always have kids that they don't live with. They never live with their own kids. But they got all this relationship advice to give. And I think in the times we are now, and I got caught up in this, but I learned. I only need to learn once. People are so hungry to gravitate towards someone and listen to someone who makes sense. They're quick to gravitate toward these people. But I always keep in mind with YouTubers, this shit is business. Most of these YouTubers care about their getting on and working the circuits in mainstream television and their brand. They don't give a fuck about black people. This man didn't give a fuck about black people. They didn't give a fuck about, he cared more about his name and his image. I even went as far as to watch some of his counter videos. I always like to see both sides. I'm a middle kid. I'm the first middle kid of my family, so I try to see both sides. And some of the shit niggas was saying about it makes sense. You a business guru, but nobody can find your business online out there from Oklahoma City. Again, you're so high value, but you're divorced. Who are these people and who do they think they are? See, this is why I don't follow a lot of these jerks. And again, let me reiterate, I had a father. See, a lot of black men like Kevin Samuel try to downplay that shit, but you had to learn about manhood going to college more than likely with white men around you because your father didn't give a fuck enough about you to raise you. I didn't need to hear a lot of this shit because my dad taught me some of this shit, and some of that shit he was saying was bullshit. Like I said, if you're a woman, like my dad said, and he's right, only woman you see alone is a woman who chooses to be. I don't give a fuck about her age. I don't care how she looks. I don't care how many kids she has. I don't care if she's black, white, purple with polka dots. Only woman that's alone is a woman that chooses to be. And I think today's women are letting these men get on our age so much, like trying to make us feel obsolete. My mother died at 37. That shit don't work on me. I understand how young 37 is in the grand scheme of things. That's number one. And you're always younger than someone. At this point in life, a lot of men are remarrying and starting over, so are women. And in today, I'm fortunate enough to be a millennial Xer cuffs on the millennial Xer cuffs. No, women can age like fine wine. Your life isn't over at 40. Who does this nigga think he is? Why would y'all even take him seriously? He couldn't even get to 60. Who is he? And let me tell you something. People that highly value themselves, they watch their habits. I dealt with men who snorted coke and whatnot, so I know what it looks like. I'm a just say no kid. I'm from the 80s. I graduated dare nigga. I don't put nothing white up my nose in my veins. Any of it is some scary shit. I've had relatives on drugs. I've dealt with partners that indulge. And let me tell you something, nigga, you didn't make it to 60. Who are you to talk about anybody? Because as it stands, there's people that are strung out on crack that they making it to their 70s. Your ass didn't make it to 60, so you snorted a lot of drugs. So who are you to talk about anyone? Actually, you can't talk about anyone anymore because you're in the upper room. So I guess it doesn't really matter how much we need for retirement and how much you make at this age and that age, because obviously, somewhere behind the scenes, Kevin Samuels, and I'm going to wrap this up on this note. Like my grandmother taught me, when the black church was still together, God don't like ugly, Mr. Samuels. Somewhere behind the scenes, and like I told you guys, my impression of it is greasy, just like a lot of them black YouTubers in that sphere is. It's time for some new YouTubers. It's time for a lot of black women to stand up against this bullshit behavior we've been sitting back watching these other black women get away from. Not you men. Not you men. Because y'all full of shit. And you have ulterior motives. And if you don't believe me, his audience, whoever comes over here with the bullshit, he's dead. God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly. You giving all this advice, but you can't even go through life without putting some white and processed up your nose. And like I said, you younger people, any young people that come in contact with this, understand. To me, a true 80s kid, if they're worth their salt, we can always pick out coke addicts. Have to. We grew up watching this shit. You should at least be able to. First thought was cokehead. Now he's gone from a heart attack with a 20-something-year-old woman you died on top of. And this was a nigga y'all was listening to. Y'all shouldn't take too much of what he says to heart. And as I said, some of the shit he says is true. But who is he to judge anyone? He's pushing up daisies, man. Damn it, man. So that's my thoughts on Mr. Kevin Samuels. It took me a while to get these thoughts out. But thank you guys for all the subscriptions. I hope you have a really good Tuesday. I'm out of here.